There, namaste. Kira Jean Roberts of Wholly Aligned, bringing you some Yin Yoga love. So if you've never heard of Yin Yoga, definitely stay tuned. See how it feels in your body. It's very different to a stronger dynamic physical yoga practice. So really allow this to decompress the areas of the hips and the quads. So we're going to focus on that anatomically today. Hip girdle, a lot of bone structure, a lot of musculature around this area. And your quads are these fleshy muscles that run down the fronts of the thighs. So not just the fronts of the thighs, but sides and outsides as well. So when I put my legs like this, I'm in what's called knee extension. So any kind of knee extension is really going to require the quadriceps to engage. So they can in turn get notoriously tight from walking, jumping, skipping, dancing, swimming, whatever activity you do, they are required for that grounding movement and fluidity and action. So whilst they're very strong, we need to make sure that they can also elongate and release tension. And the Yin style practice really helps with that. So we're going to dive right in. Our first pose is deer pose. So I'll go this way along actually. So all you need is a mat for this practice. And even if you don't have a mat, you can, if you've got a nice rug or a carpet, that's perfectly fine. Yin is typically mostly in seated poses. So just see how it feels to align the shin bone, so the front of your right leg, as if it's a parallelogram with the top line of your mat. So you'll see that my foot here is in slight flexion, which is protecting the knee here. Now be guided by what feels right in your body in terms of how to adjust this back leg. So the left leg, it might come further back, really depends on how your quads down the left thigh are feeling. It might need to be further in. If you're very tight in the hips, it's definitely going to need to be further in. Always honor your body. It's the best thing you can do. So sit up tall, take a breath. Yin poses we hold for some time, so just soften, soften, soften. And then fold if that feels okay. And fold at an angle that makes sense for you. It's really okay to kind of go slightly inwards, maybe slightly outwards. If you're very tight in the glute muscles, you'll also be getting into those there. And this is just where you soften. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes. Just let yourself go, let yourself surrender. Tune into your breath. Let the belly relax so you're not holding tension in your belly. And also the face, muscles of the face can get very tight. Soften the eyes, soften the jaw. Maybe starting to release the head a little. Be guided by your own body. Sensation is information. Allow the muscles to soften, soften, soften. If it starts to feel like it's too much or there's agitation arising, just ease off. You can always ease off, come up onto the hands, and then come back down when you feel ready. Always your choice. Be guided by the wisdom of your own body. Three more breaths here. You're very welcome to stay there for longer. There's really no problem if you want another couple of minutes here. If it's getting into something, let that be so. You can just pause me and then come out when you feel ready. Otherwise, we'll just ease out nice and gently and simply turn the other way. So we've got to even out the other side of the body now. So you have your left shin bone paralleling with the top end of the mat there. Slight flexion in the foot, so you've got this angle at the foot. Flexion, you can remind yourself, is toes towards the nose. So toes this way, opposite to pointing. This is pointing, this is flexion. And then wherever this leg needs to go back. So we soften into all of the musculature around the hips. We've got internal rotation happening in this side of the hip and external on this side. So that's dependent on how your thigh bones are structured and how they sit in the acetabulum. That's the little home for the head of the thigh bone. And then just take your time to explore. Where do you feel you want to go? It might be that you stay here. And really you're not trying to get anywhere. You're feeling. It's this somatic awareness, this awareness of how things feel through sensation. It's that beautiful simplicity which tells no lies. It's what's actually happening in the here and now. As we get very caught up in all of this, and we all do it, so don't give yourself a hard time, but trust that you can find this language of wisdom, of sensation, of your body, of release, of surrender. And if you've got some old stuff hanging around the hips, sitting in poses like this, it can feel quite overwhelming, but just see. Let the breath guide you. If the breath needs to be deep, that's okay. If the breath needs to be soft, that's okay. It's really about listening. This beautiful skill that we've lost a lot in modern society, the skill to listen. To just be present to another, indeed, if we're in conversation, like listen, attend, be present. But also apply that to yourself. So you're listening to your body and how it's communicating to you. And you're allowing yourself that space. So important, so beautiful as well when we really allow it. Soften where you can, melt where you can. Breathe into your spinal column. Imagine the cerebrospinal fluid flowing safely. Three more breaths. Again, you're welcome to stay for longer. Otherwise, just come out nice and gently so you don't give the body a shock, and just ease that away. And we'll do a little counter of sitting back into the hands and just let the legs windscreen wipe one way and then the other. So you're just loosening up the hips. If you've got sore wrists, this can really show up here, so you can always stop whenever you need to. A few more times each side, letting the flow fill your legs, like energy in your legs. Remember, you have legs. Good. And release. Okay. So our next pose is going to specifically target the front of the thighs. So this, I find this one pretty overwhelming, I'll be quite honest with you. So we're just going to do a half saddle, as it's called in the yin. Let your right leg be long. And actually, I'll show you this way. Right leg long. And it doesn't matter actually which leg you start with. If you start with the other one, that's okay. And there's this sense, if you think of the front of the thigh being your target area, a sense of course, always make sure the knee feels super, super safe. Never want any sharpness in your knees. But if it's available to you, then you're looking to find the alignment of the top of the foot flat. So that's not for everyone. I know certainly I have quite a lot of knee issues. If it's helpful to you, you could get a cushion and pop it under your right seat, and that will lift things a little bit, especially if it's pinching into the knee. No pinching knees. No. All right. So here we are. And this might be, if you're tight in the quads, you might be like, whoa, this is enough. I'm staying here, and that's fine. If there's more to be experienced, and sometimes less is more, so it doesn't mean more is always good. We don't always need to be moving forwards. It's okay to back away as well. But if it's there for you, you can start to sort of lean back a little bit. Now, of course, through the action of leaning back, we're extending more through the front body. So this inevitably is going to increase sensation down the thigh. So just see how you feel. As you come back, you definitely do not want to feel your lumbar curve, your lumbar spine being compromised in any way. So if there's tightness in the hips and the quads, that can absolutely show up in the lower back. So I'm only going to give you this option if it feels absolutely right. So you might like to come down onto the forearms, and maybe that's where you stay. Now, some of you will be no issue to allow the body to fully relax. For me, that is too intense. And my body's immediately saying, whoa, too much, and I would not be able to sit and be with myself there. I would get very upset because it's too much physical sensation. I could start feeling it going into my lower back. And even this, I can start feeling my neck getting a bit tired, so I might just come back up and rest on my hands. And that's okay. That's enough. That's enough. Be where you need to be with it. And just gently, gently, gently observing physical sensation in your body. What is happening in this moment? Not what happened yesterday, not what you need to do tomorrow. What is happening here and now? Here and now. Always turn the hands the other way if that eases off the wrists a little bit. Tuck the chin in if that helps to relieve something in the back of the neck. I can hear my stomach gurgling, a little bit of rumbling going on. Always embrace that. I say all noises are embraced in a yoga practice. So if something's releasing, if something needs to come out, let it come out. I really like it when you hear those gurgles, and sometimes a lot starts to be released from the liver and gallbladder, which sit on the right side of the abdomen there. And bear in mind, when we're working the body in this way, we're working multiple levels and layers. So we're extending the meridians, the energy lines that run down the front of the thigh. And there's the stomach meridian goes right down the center. So isn't it exciting that you're doing so much more than you think you are? So go beyond the thinking mind. We'll just do 3 more breaths here. Relax the energy of the left foot, just let it be soft. Well done. So wherever you've got to, if you went fully supine and lay down, just ease yourself up nice and gently, 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 gently. I would recommend tipping to the right, so this is going to loosen off the capsule of the left knee and allow you to release it safely. You might up and down it, maybe give it a little get the blood flow back into it. Hello leg! And then we'll scoot to the other side. So left leg is your long leg now. And you don't have to turn around, I just did that so you can see. My right knee is definitely a little bit, in need of a bit more love than my left. I just simply cannot turn my foot to go flat. If I did, it would be jamming into my knee, and this is, as I said, not good. You don't want to jam into the knee or put any sharpness into it. So it might be that for me, this is enough. For you, if your knee is fine, you're tucking the foot, so you're not sitting on the foot is outside of the hip, but imagine if my foot was rolled all the way flat to the top of the foot. If the range of motion in my knee allowed it, that's where you are. You might find, I might pop myself up on a cushion on this side, so I give myself a little bit more, it takes the pressure off the knee a little bit. So it's mostly under my left hip, so the opposite hip to the bent knee. And for me, let me just consider, and you can consider, where does it feel to go on this? Actually, my quads feel like they could lengthen. It's just the knee that's doesn't want to be bent any more than that. But I'm still feeling something here, and that's okay. You don't expect things to be perfect, or this person did it like this and then I must do it like that. Your body is a unique collection of cells, of experiences. Honor that blueprint. And also get to know it. Know thyself. Know thyself. It's the best journey inwards we can really take. And give yourself time with this style of practice. If it's new to you, well, it could go both ways, because you might have had such an expectation that yoga was very, very difficult. It's not that this is easy, but it's challenging in different ways, because we have to sit in the stillness. And if you've got a lot of adrenaline, a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, an overactive stress response, you're not going to like sitting with yourself, and that's okay. Trust that you can, you can access that peacefulness, become restful, but it's practice, and we're all there practicing together. So know, I'm there with you, I'm right there. 3 more breaths here. Give yourself a little smile. Helps to break up heavy energy. Soften the eyes. Good. And let that release away. Okay, so I can pop the cushion back. And for the last pose, we're just doing 3 poses. Just so you see, it doesn't need to be a really long practice. And targeting the quads again. So here, your right leg stays long. You're reaching back for the foot. Now, I do appreciate that can be a big ask for some people, in which case, just don't even worry about propping up, and you can let yourself relax all the way down. So that is no problem. I'm going to find that sweet spot without jeopardizing the lower back. Again, if your lower back is singing to you, come lying down onto your belly and just work the stretch that way. Or allow the stretch that way. We don't want to work the stretch, we're allowing it. And the benefit of holding these poses for longer periods of time, as I'm sure you can appreciate, is that it allows the deeper tissues to be accessed. And just have a feel into the left hip, so it's staying rolling down. If you're tight in the quad, sometimes the left hip wants to lift. Three more breaths here. You're nearly there. And release. Okay. Just sit back, have a little child's pose between the sides. Sitting back towards the heels. And then we'll come to the other side. I'll turn around just so you can see. You don't need to turn around unless you particularly want to. So it's the right knee we're bending up this time, and just consider maybe you want to start quite softly, quite gently. You might think, okay, I might just open up the front body a little bit more, but just be careful that you don't start rolling this hip open. You know, let the hip descend down, and if that means you in turn need to lower the front body, that's what to do. That's what your body's telling you. Just notice if the buttocks are clenching a little bit, let that tension come out of them, if possible. Three more breaths. And gently release. Press yourself back. Let's have a little cat. So this is hollowing out the front body, arching into the back body. So you just let the head hang, chin tucks. Especially if your lower back felt that. You know, hopefully it didn't. And you know, just remind yourself not to push into things that are painful or uncomfortable. And just let this spread the tissues of the back body. One more breath. And release. Excellent. That was your mini yin practice for releasing hips and quads. Let me know how you like it. If you loved it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for what I'm up to as well. I love working one-to-one with people. I'm based in London, so if that's something that sings to you, I have a couple of openings there, so you're very welcome to have a chat to me about that. Otherwise, just, you know, enjoy the videos. There's so many great resources out there. I'm certainly not the only one. So just, you know, find what really resonates and works for you to become wholly aligned. Namaste.